I just hit the button.
Okay, so we're recording.
We're recording.
Hi.
Guys, I don't know what I'm doing. But you're the doctor here, so hopefully you know what you're doing.
Not a doctor of sound engineering.
You're a doctor of something. You have
communication.
You have more degrees than I do.
Communication, not communications.
Well, this is, we are talking.
This is communications is the microphone. Communication.
Wait, there's a difference between.
Oh, yes, you don't know about this?
No.
I've never talked about that.
Well, good thing we can educate the people now.
Great.
Welcome to Two Gay Mats. It is now a podcast about communications.
Is it technical or is it theoretical?
I don't know what the difference is.
If we're talking about the mics, it's communications. Otherwise, it's communication.
Great. Okay. Welcome to Two Gay Mats. Hey everybody, welcome back to another Two Gay Mats podcast. It is Matt Steele, and I cannot believe I am hosting my very first podcast without Matt Palmer. Usually when I am out of town, Matt Palmer, who, has a degree in recorded music and in, all the technical communications. No, but more like music. Music communications. I guess, whatever. A degree in recorded music. He knows how to hook up all the wires. He knows how to make things sound good and everything. I do not. I have a degree in rolling around on the floor in my sweatpants as a drama major. And so...
I have the same degree.
And you have the same... Well, you have other many. Yes. But so Matt Palmer, when I'm out of town, he usually is the one to be like, oh, let me get my friend to co-host this thing with me. I know how to set it up. And then when also Matt Palmer is out of town, Matt Palmer is just like, we're not having a podcast because Matt Steele isn't going to be able to hook all this shit up. But he educated me. I took a crash course in how to push the record button, how to hook up the microphones, all of this. So hopefully this is working. And I am co-hosting with the wonderful, the incredible, the gorgeous Dr. Lauren. Dr. Lauren Soa Tash. What do you go by?
I go by Dr. Lauren Soa.
Okay.
Yes, for all...
For professional purposes.
And
this
for
is,
teaching.
This is a professional podcast.
Exactly.
So absolutely. So Dr. Lauren and I love how I'm calling you Dr. Lauren.
I know, it's great.
This is Dr. Lauren. Dr. Lauren and I have known each other since 2006. I met you on your birthday.
On my birthday,
in 2006.
August 27th.
August 27th, because it was Welcome Week at NYU, Tisch School of the Arts, and we were both musical theater majors.
It was move-in day.
It was
raining earlier that day.
It was pouring. It was miserable.
Yes.
It was a miserable day of walking and dragging our stuff upstairs, and we were like, okay, this is college.
Now we're here.
And so I met all of the other musical theater kids that day, and Lauren was one of them. And I remember thinking, I thought she would be taller.
Well, that's because you saw my Facebook. Yeah, we joined a Facebook group.
Yes,
for
remember
Cap 21.
Facebook groups?
Yes, we had Facebook groups, and so we were all sort of chatting over the summer, and I had some of my professional modeling shots on there that happened to, I guess, make me look like you thought I was like 5'8", 5'9".
It wasn't even those. It was
really?
It was you in your school play playing Lois Lane in Kiss Me Kate.
Okay, all right. Those character shoes were doing wonders for me then.
Yes, and you were a long, leggy starlet in my mind because you see, these are all the people in this group are going to be in our college program, right. And so I've got to stalk all of them. Who's going to be my friend? Who's going to be my enemy? Who's going to take the parts away from me? Who's my competition?
Exactly.
And Lauren was obviously my competition.
Of course.
And so I remember looking at her pictures and just seeing just gorgeous blonde. I remember your prom pictures with your prom dress.
My prom dress, the big red, huge ball gown. Yes,
yeah, exactly.
And I wanted my hair to be styled after Christine Daae from the movie version of The Phantom of the Opera. That was the curl style is what I was going for.
I love how specific you were.
It was very specific.
That you were
and my mom did it.
Of course your mom did it. I will not have my hair styled after Christine Daae in the Broadway version. It will be the movie version.
Which I don't even love the movie version, but I loved her hair in the movie version.
Great hair.
Especially for the masquerade, that is what that was.
Sure, and that is what I know Lauren for, in how she knows the specific things she wants for the theme, the vision. Lauren has Dr. Lauren has a vision for everything. I always tell people when they're like, oh, who's your friend Lauren? I'm like, she is the type of person who, if you're like, I'm throwing a themed party, Dr. Lauren will go, what's the theme? And they'll go, Olympics, Winter Olympics. And she'll go, what year, what country? And they'll be like, I don't know, Hungary 1976. And Dr. Lauren will be like, I'll figure something out. And she literally will. She'll do the research. And
I have things. I do have a costume bin.
Yeah.
I have a lot of clothing pieces I can pull from.
I'm sure it's brilliantly organized.
I'm podcasting today on Two Gay Mats.
Yes.
And so You like my shoes, which you can't see, but they're.
I know. Look at
these.
Those of you who are watching on Spotify, there's a visual element. You can see the adorable shoes,
as well as the fact that I'm very excited to announce that flare jeans are back.
I was about to say, I looked down and there's a flare in these jeans. You are so young.
Well, okay, so here's the thing. So I teach at Pepperdine,
yes,
right?
Tell the people what you do.
Yeah, so I'm a professor at Pepperdine University, and I teach public speaking. And this semester, I'm teaching persuasion across platforms. I've also taught history of screen arts, and in the fall, I'm teaching intro to communication. So I teach a lot of different communication classes. But anyway, so I teach college kids, Gen Z, and they've been wearing the mom jeans, the wide-legged, and I love my skinny jeans. That's what I've been doing for a while. And I bought a pair of mom jeans and I thought they looked so stupid on me. And I'm like, I don't know if I can do this. But I also felt like I couldn't keep wearing skinny jeans either because that dates you and it's old. And then they started wearing flares and I thought,
this is my moment.
It's back because I love flares so much. And so I have to tell you, so my mom actually bought these for me because my mom does most of my clothes shopping because she's amazing like that.
Mom has great taste.
She's great. She really does.
Great taste.
I put them together, but she picks out the pieces. Sure. And when I got these and I put them on and I just felt like I'm back.
Oh, that's a beautiful
and
feeling.
I haven't felt that in a really long time. And I'm just like, oh no, this is power Lauren. This is like high school Lauren rocked flare and either high heeled boots or I had the high heeled gym shoes. You know, the gym shoes with the heels. So this is a fashion podcast now. I don't know if you guys know that. It's 2006.
This is a fashion
2006 fashion podcast.
Yes, exactly.
And now when I wear them, I just feel amazing again. So I'm very happy that flares are back. And I thought this felt like I'm co-hosting Two Gay Mats podcast. So that's why I'm wearing it.
You're officially like cooler than me.
Oh, I don't know if that's true. No.
You are very much cooler than me. Look how fashionable you look.
Maybe in fashions. I don't know.
What else? Like, how am I cool?
Okay, so this is, I think, a very important thing as I'm not really filling in for Matt Palmer because I could never.
Well, unless you do such an incredible job that he gets fired and it's you
one gay Matt and Dr. Lauren.
Yeah,
no. So, but I don't, I live under a music rock when it comes to contemporary pop music culture. That's why I listen to your podcast. You actually really helped me. So I learn things with what you guys talk about, and now I'm better at it. But that's why you're much cooler because you know people.
If that's cool. Like it doesn't that's such a superficial way to describe someone as cool. Like they know who Chapel Roan is. Like who cares?
Well, my favorite though is they're playing. Remember, you came over for 4th of July this summer. And our neighbors were playing it. They rent out their pool, and you're like, who are the gays next door?
Yeah, I was like, who are the gays next door?
And I was like, oh, they're not. And you're like, no, they're gays because they're playing Chapel Roan.
Yeah, this is before the straights knew who Chapel Roan was.
I was like, I don't know what that is.
So
now I do. I love Pink Pony Club.
Exactly. Yeah,
so it's all good.
Yeah, exactly. And so you live at home. You're wonderfully happily married.
Yes.
Your wonderful husband named Matthew.
Yes, Matthew. There's another Matthew.
Yes. Because if it was
a straight Matthew, but yes.
Yes, but that's why there's the Thew at the end. Because if it was
Halts.
Matt, then it would just be like, well, why isn't he a gay Matt?
Oh yeah.
Matthew is very different.
When I first met him, I was like, do you prefer to go by Matt or Matthew? He's like, oh, definitely Matthew. And I'm like, oh, thank God.
Yeah.
Because I have other Matts in my life, and this is just gonna be so much easier.
Oh, please! Like most of your friends were born in the '80s and are probably gay, so there are a lot of
There's that. Yes.
There was the TikTok that went viral. We get it. Everyone sent it to me. Yep. The most common gay name is Matt. Blah blah blah. I get it. So and who else? There's
and then I have my son.
Your son Harrison.
My son Harrison. He's going to be a year and a half on Monday.
I feel like we just had his year birthday.
I know we did, which was Lord of the Rings themed. It was one ring to rule them all, and this is me saying again, I'm not cool because that was the theme.
But that's
Lord of the Rings.
But the fact that you are so theme oriented and you commit to the themes so much, like the fact that you are like, I want Christine Dye, I want Emmy Rossum's hair, and not who the original Sarah Brightman's hair. How dare I want Emmy Rossum's hair? The fact that you were so specific about it, that to me is the sign of someone who is the coolest.
Oh well, I appreciate that.
Yeah, and I'm not just sucking up to you because you're my friend.
Oh well, that I know.
And that you graciously agreed to be a guest on this podcast. And my favorite thing about Harrison, obviously, Harrison somehow came out with red hair.
Oh yes, like bright red hair. Yes.
So people were like, "Is this gay Matt's child?" That is not true because he also looks exactly like your husband. And he's like a perfect mix.
I think so. Yeah, he really looks a lot like me and a lot like him at various points. But neither of us have red hair. Although my grandfather had like strawberry blonde reddish hair, and my husband's grandma also had bright, like Lucille Ball red hair.
That'll do
so
it.
and I have cousins, a lot of cousins with red hair. So it's definitely in the families. I have always wanted red hair. He has the hair that I always wanted, and I love that I had the gene. And so like he has it, and it's amazing.
When you got that one little recessive gene and you marry someone else, and when you marry a straight Matthew with a recessive gene too, sometimes that recessive gene just pulls the punch. So Lauren.
Yes.
Or it's Dr. Lauren. God, this is so hard.
You can call me Lauren.
This is
it's like
your branding.
It is. Well, that's true. That's true.
Yes, you're all about branding.
Yeah, I do. I teach that actually.
You teach branding.
There is that.
And you teach public speaking as well as that.
Yes.
Which is what we'll talk about when I ask you, Dr. Lauren, how was your week?
My week was really good. I had a good week. It was the last week of official classes at Pepperdine. We kind of finish up early. So next week is finals.
That is early.
It is pretty early.
Okay.
Yeah. So it was
good for y'all, kids.
It was great.
Get out of there.
I know, right?
Enjoy summer.
Nice long summer break. So yeah, they were doing their visual aid speeches, which they reuse one of their other speeches from the semester and they put a PowerPoint to it that I teach them how to do. And then we prepare them for their special occasion speech, which is a fun one. Then they do that for their final exam in my class. So we had that this week, which is great. And then I also played golf on Monday, played 18 holes with my husband and my father-in-law and my dad.
Okay.
Which is great because it's my only sport.
You know, I think you can add one more. I think you can do like a ping pong moment. At some point.
But I don't do a ping.
No, I believe in you. It's always been golf, golf, golf. You need to expand your horizons. You're wearing flares now.
I've been wearing flares since No, the reason why is because in ping pong, the ball moves. And I don't have hand-eye coordination. See, this is my thing with golf. The ball is stationary. I'm stationary. No one's running at me. I'm not running at anybody else. I get to wear a cute outfit.
Yeah.
I get to take my time. I take my moment, have a moment before.
Yeah.
I breathe.
Yeah.
Breathe it in.
You prepare.
I prepare. I hit the ball. It goes. And then we have a conversation. We walk to the next shot.
Or take a car.
Or drive, which is actually what we did too, because we took Halts.
Yeah.
My clubs are all pink, which my husband got me for a birthday gift this year. I use pink golf balls and pink tees, so I'm very pink. Basically, it's Elwood's playing golf.
I don't think anyone who's listening is shocked to hear this.
No, they're probably not. And I love it, and it gives me a lot of joy. And considering I don't play that much, I'm actually quite good.
Okay.
If I played a lot, I would not. I
feel like you play golf more than anyone else my age that I know.
Well, that's probably true.
Yes.
That's probably true. Yeah.
My week, I have to tell you, Lauren, you're going to get excited.
Oh, I'm excited already. What is it?
Lauren, this week I did something that is very 2010. Matt Steele just graduated musical theater college.
Oh.
I got an appointment audition for Wicked.
Stop. Yes.
Because
that's amazing.
Like, when you're like graduating college in 2010 as a musical theater major, it's just like, all I want to do is be in the Wicked machine.
Well, of course. And get an appointment.
I know. And like, that was like, because it was like when you, in 2010, this is before the Book of Mormon machine, the Hamilton machine, everything. So like the Wicked machine was like, this is because
and it was still just kind of getting going too. They've only had like what we're on our like fourth replacement cast, maybe.
I don't even know, but like it was still like the hottest ticket in town. And so agents, when they were looking for you, when they were going to showcases, they were just like, for girls, we're looking for a Glinda and an Elphaba to represent. For boys, it's like we're looking for a Fierro or a Bach to represent.
Right,
like, these are the types you had to fit in order to be considered marketable in musical theater, like in 2010. And so, graduated 2010. I'm like, ooh, I'm going to go in for Wicked all the time. And I absolutely did not. So 15 years later, here I am.
15 years later. I never went in for Wicked.
Really?
No,
I thought you went in for Glinda.
No, I never had an appointment.
Wow.
I know. Isn't that was like my biggest...
Still time.
I was like, agent, hi. Like, what was happening?
There is still time.
There's still time. There's still time.
Yeah, and so...
that's great.
I know. So it was like kind of...
What did you sing?
Surreal. Well, they gave me like a packet.
Oh, you like prepared.
Because the thing is also, I also auditioned. I got an audition for Wicked the movie. For Bach. And they gave me like a packet of just like box material and everything. And
if they just want redheads for Bach now.
Well, that was the thing. The reason why I think I got the audition for the Wicked, because everyone was like, wow, you got the audition for Wicked the movie. And I was like, I don't think I was ever seriously in consideration. I'm pretty sure Ethan Slater was, was the front runner, for a good chunk of the time. But I imagine, because then I saw the movie and then I was like, all of these munchkins have curly red hair. I guarantee you they were looking for other munchkins. I
see.
So they were like calling anyone with curly red hair.
Because that was sort of the munchkin look they were going for.
That was sort of the munchkin look that I
Okay,
guess
all
I feel.
right.
But I
Yes.
guarantee you they used like all British actors. But they were
I think they did.
But
yeah.
Chelsea was
Yeah.
probably just like, let's call on some Americans with curly red hair too in case they need
Throw it
someone.
in.
So the packet that they gave me for this Wicked audition was exactly the same as the one that they gave me for the movie.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
And so here's the thing. Bach, like I know the requirement is like 5'7" and under.
Yeah.
I'm 5'7" and a half.
Yeah,
so I go into it knowing full well like this
But
isn't working in my
can
favor.
read shorter.
I do read shorter. People are always surprised
I know.
to hear I have that happen.
Because there are people who I think are shorter than you that like who've played Bach who I thought were taller
Sure.
as well, right?
Yeah.
So I think.
But and also Bach has like 2 singing lines. And they are both really awful places in my voice. like because you are so beautiful is the bane of my existence. I cannot sing that line for the life of me, just where the vowels that it is on. So I was going in just being like, oh, I'm going to mess this up. I'm not going to sound good. I didn't do half bad.
I bet you didn't.
I didn't. So I'm proud of myself that I didn't make a fool out of myself. It was kind of surreal though, being back in that musical theater world of like, I'm sitting in like the room.
The waiting room. I'm surprised it was in person.
It was in person.
That's
yeah.
kind of weird.
I think the New York
I'm
team was in LA,
Oh.
like seeing people. It was just so funny
Yay.
and just like such a throwback of being in the like waiting room. And it's like, there were girls who were coming in all black. And it's like, okay, she's in for Elphaba. And then there were girls coming in either pale yellow or pale pink.
Oh yeah, I was
It's like,
I actually did
okay.
yellow. I always did. If I was gonna, I remember going to one of the open calls and I wore yellow
Yeah,
because I felt like pink was a little too on the nose.
When I tell you all the girls either pink or yellow,
yeah.
and there weren't that many people, but yeah, it was like I was in there with all girls, and it was just
funny.
either all in black or all in pink and yellow, and I'm just like, and they're all sitting there like with their eyes closed.
Oh no!
And at certain points, like one would pop a lozenge, and I'm just like, the traditions that musical theater people have before going into an audition, it stresses me out.
I know.
So much.
I just even you talking about it, I'm like,
I know. It doesn't send a cold shiver up your spine.
I mean, sometimes I just wish like you could just sit there, be a person, have a conversation.
So
I think I'd be great.
So that was what I did this week.
Well, that's amazing. That's so
yeah,
fun.
and
Good.
I'm just happy I didn't make
Great.
a fool out of myself.
I don't. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
I wouldn't believe that you would.
Thank you so much.
Very proud
Thank
of
you for
you.
having faith in me. But
Always.
now it is time to get to.
Oh yeah, what section are we in the podcast, Matt
She
Steele?
comes into the apartment and she's like, "So wait, am I going to be the person who is going to be like leading into the next section, like to replace Matt Palmer? Like, what section is this now?" And I'm like, "Lauren, there's no pressure. Just come in,
Because
be
I
yourself."
know that you guys always ask each other, like, do you want to tell us what section of the podcast are we in right now? So that's part of the flow.
Well, I'll tell you what section.
Okay,
of the podcast
what section
we
of the
are in
podcast
right
we're
now, Dr. Lauren? We are on to News for Idiots.
Oh, of course,
which is where we talk about the news.
Yay!
And nothing too high stakes, except this one is.
Well, the first one's kind of
the headline is sad. But touching, touching elements. So Pope Francis, the leader of the Catholic Church since what year? I don't
We're
even
both
know.
bad Catholics.
I know we are, aren't we?
We really are.
But Pope Francis.
Was it 2013, 16?
That sounds about 2013 sounds about right. Pope Francis has been
been a
Pope
while,
for almost a decade and a half. Leader of the Catholic Church passed away the Monday right after Easter.
Yeah, Easter Monday.
Easter Monday. He was 88 years old. Very, very much a forward thinker in the Catholic Church. A very progressive Pope, and came in like at a time when it was like no one really wanted the job. Even the guy who was doing it, he didn't want the job, and so he resigned. And so Pope Francis was just like, "I will do it," because at the time, the Catholic Church didn't have the best reputation,
right?
For reasons,
coming off of some
moments,
challenging years.
It's some challenging years, and so Pope Francis was very much known for ushering in, a very open-minded and like loving and accepting vision of the Catholic Church, and I think really kind of like it was known for making being Catholic cool again. I think the popularity rose since where it was in.
From when he became Pope.
Yes, exactly. So, Lauren, as a person who you went to Catholic school, you're a better Catholic than I.
Yes.
My Catholicism was my mom took us to church the day before Easter and Christmas Eve, and that was it. And we like got all the sacraments and everything.
So C&E Christians.
Yeah, exactly. So, so you maybe know a little bit more than me. about this kind of thing?
Oh, well, I just, I do think it's very sad that the Pope has passed on, but I know that he was up there and he was sick for a while. And so I think it's great that he made it through the Easter blessing. I think that's really lovely and wonderful. And I'm just glad that so many people are paying their respects to him, particularly this week. I think his funeral was this morning. And so I think that this is a really, it's a special time to just sort of commemorate that his legacy and the work that he's done. And one thing that I do think is also interesting right now, though, is because of that, the Conclave is coming up, the actual Conclave.
I know, time, because now
this is
Conclave, the movie, was such a huge hit, at the box office. So people now kind of know how it works. So I feel like the social media of it all, everyone is kind of just okay.
Oh, here we are.
Here we are.
Here we are. And I
about to
read that the streaming minutes on April 20th was at 1.8 million. But the very next day after he had passed on, it jumped up to 6.9 million. So everyone then decided, I should watch this film, which actually made me think, and I was going to ask you, Matt, what your thoughts were if Conclave had, let's say, what if the Pope had passed on before the Oscars? Do you think that would have given Conclave
I love
boost.
this way of thinking. This is what podcasts are for.
Would Anora have still won, or if you think it came out this year instead of last year, because it already would have been filmed, so it has nothing to do with the current passing of the Pope, but it has to do with the electing of the new Pope, and I just wonder if that would have changed.
I don't know. I think if it had come out this year, it would have come out in September or something, and the Conclave of this era would have passed, and it would have been old news. Okay. So I don't know if that would have helped it win Best Picture. Maybe. I don't think that's out of the realm of possibilities.
That's just something I was thinking about, and I wanted to ask you.
That is interesting.
I would have emailed your heart, but I'm here, so I'm just asking you.
You're emailing my heart
I'm just
right now.
asking your heart what your
my
thoughts
answer
are.
is, girl, I don't know. But
it's just food for thought.
It's something to think about.
Something to think on.
It's funny because my one of my very good friends from home, she edited the Pope's book. Her
really?
First job out. Yeah, she's a literary agent now, but
that's amazing.
Her first job out of college was working as an
edit
editor.
The Pope's book?
It was an editor, one of the editors for this publishing company.
Okay.
And so her job was the Pope's book. And so there was a period of time, I think she still has the Vatican's number in her phone.
What?
She's like, girl, I got the Pope's secretary on speed dial if you need a prayer. She never got to speak to the Pope directly. Everything was through his secretary.
Okay.
Who she said was lovely. But still she worked with the Pope for several years, and so I think maybe 2 years that this process was, and so I was very touched by his death and everything. She was a very big fan. She was like, oh, I love my Pope Franny. And the secretary was just like, there's going to be a palpable blessing for you. So
she's good.
Oh, she's good.
Sad.
If there's anyone going to heaven, it is my friend Amanda.
That's amazing.
So good for her. But now there are new contenders for the new Pope. And I don't know if you've done your research on any of them.
I have not.
Okay.
No,
I know the front runner is
there's actually they actually are talking about front runners.
They're talking about front
runners. Wow.
A lot of people are talking about the front runner is Cardinal Tagle.
Now, is he also progressive, or is he more conservative?
Because I know
because I know that there's been some talk and discussion about is there going to be a potential conservative backlash to that? We're a little bit like Conclave itself in that sense. I think that's been some of the questions that people are asking.
Yeah, but the thing that I also heard was out of the 130 something cardinals, Pope Francis anointed 108 of them. So he kind of stacked the court in a progressive favor.
Oh, I see. Oh, that's interesting.
When does the conclave even start?
We
don't need to. It'll happen at some point.
It's within a certain amount of time that's set, because they gathered everyone. It's soon because they gathered everyone to be there for the funeral. So I think it starts. I think they start preparing rather quickly.
Good luck,
but there is
gentlemen.
I think it has to be done within 30 days. But I also am not.
Or what happens?
Well, I think God would be very angry. You got to get it done,
and you don't want to get God angry.
No, you got to figure these things out.
There's already too much going on. But okay, so best of luck to everyone. I hope a nice progressive Pope who's also down with the gays and everything,
absolutely,
and open-hearted and everything, like Pope Francis, gets elected. Speaking of, good thing we were talking about Conclave.
I was going to say, this is a really nice lead-in.
I know.
I teed you up for that.
Thank you very much.
Tee it up.
So the Academy has released some new rules for voting this year. New Oscars rule Basically, if you don't see all the nominated films, you can't vote. It says Oscar voters will no longer be able to cast final ballots in categories in which they haven't seen all the nominees. So basically what they're doing is in the streaming service that the Academy has, that where voters can watch the movie, it has to show that the movie has been streamed. But the thing is, like, a lot.
I was like, how are they regulating this?
I mean,
is there going to be a test? Like, what are we doing here? Because you could just kind of play
it in the background. But also, the thing that a lot of people are saying is a lot of these voters have gone to film festivals, have seen these, or like want to see the films on the big screen.
That's a good point.
So if they don't watch it on the streaming service, they have to provide a receipt that they have seen. They have to show their ticket to the film festival. I don't know, maybe ticket to the movie theater. I don't know, which is like, who can keep track of all that stuff?
I mean, I think it's great. I think it's important. I have a student was giving a speech about something related to the film industry and brought up this news and then blatantly said to all of us, you mean they haven't been watching them and voting?
My favorite quote, like from a celeb, one of my favorite quotes is Kirsten Dunst was interviewed and around Oscar time, and someone asked her, they were just like, they were like, have you seen all of the movies nominated? And she was like, yes, because I'm a member of the Academy. Essentially just being like, yes, I do my job. Like
wasn't there someone who said something to the extent of like, oh, I actually watched that one. I mean, I watched them all. Who was that?
I don't know, but there are so many people. Like, there's the anonymous Oscar ballots that come out in articles like every year around Oscar time, and so many of these anonymous voters literally just say like, "Oh, I didn't even bother watching this movie," and it's just like that sucks. Like that, you are an uninformed voter.
Well, you know, and I guess that's true, but there is the fact that like when we get to the SAG Awards, you don't vote for TV because you don't.
I skipped the TV awards because I haven't seen all the nominees.
See, and I vote for everything.
But listen, I'm going to hold your feet to the fire.
Okay.
I mean, next season for the SAG Awards, I'm going to insist that you watch all the movies.
All the movies, because I usually do watch all the TV.
You're making your pledge here on Two
right
Mats, the podcast.
All right.
Yeah. And if you don't, you can totally lie to me and be like, yeah,
I would never lie to you. I don't lie to you.
You don't lie to me.
I don't lie to you.
But I'm sure a lot of Academy voters will be like, yeah, I totally watched that. And
be like, yeah, just had it streaming.
I think it's more so the optics of like, hey,
this is serious,
members,
and we need to take this.
This is what you should be doing.
Absolutely.
So they do what they can. We're all trying our best, I guess. This is for us. More Broadway guys.
Oh, good. Okay.
Yeah. The pop girlies who listen to the podcast who want to hear about pop music. They're going to be like, what are they talking about? But this is about a pop girl too. This is very Two Gay Mats coded. So Lena Dunham and Rae Jepsen are adapting 10 Things I Hate About You into a Broadway musical.
I love that.
Yeah.
I don't know that I would have just paired them together. And I guess my question is Lena Dunham doing lyrics or is she just doing the book? I
would imagine she's just doing the book.
Okay. Yeah. And Rae Jepsen's doing
and the music, and I'm sure some lyrics. And I know Rae Jepsen is also working with Ethan Gruska, who she worked with on her most recent album, The Loveliest Time.
Oh, okay. Yes. Lovely.
So yeah, we do have a Kiss Me Kate, which is a musical about
that's true.
The Taming of the Shrew. But why not? If there's two musicals based on Some Like It Hot, why not two musicals based on Taming of the Shrew?
If it's been a popular movie in the 80s or 90s, we must make it into a musical.
Yeah,
that's a very popular. Here's my problem with it, and unless I don't think they can do it. If we cannot get, "You're Just Too Good to Be True," right? That song, the rights to that song.
Okay.
And there's that scene when Heath Ledger sings, he's coming down the bleachers, he's got the mic, I love you, baby, right? And then they start chasing him, and you see, like, that is such an iconic moment in that film. And if that's not in the musical, which I don't think it will be or can be, because you have to get the rights from Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons to do that, I don't think it's going to do that well, because I think that is such an important scene, and there are people who know that song because of the film, because of 10 Things I Hate About You, not because of Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons or because of Jersey Boys.
And see, here's the funny thing for me is I would absolutely hate it if that was in the musical, because I would be like, no, the musical should stand on its own, separate from the movie. But the thing is, I do know that people go into Broadway shows being like, I want it to be just like the movie.
Yeah, but that's why they're doing it.
It's like I'm a Believer was added to like Shrek.
Oh, they did add it.
They did,
yeah.
Okay, and I hate it. I'm just like, I feel like this should stand on its own as its own thing. and not try to copy the movie
that's,
so much.
That's a good point. You guys have talked about it before on this podcast about how Legally Blonde has done that so incredibly well that we didn't need that perfect day song in the beginning, and I didn't think it could do it without it, and they did. So I could stand corrected. Yeah. There could be another song he puts there, but I do want to hear. We could
still have that moment and have the gravitas of that moment, but in its own way, in a unique, special way.
All right, I guess I can see that.
I think you should have some faith in Carly Rae.
All right.
Listen, the gays for literally over a decade have been trying to tell the straights, you need to have more faith in Carly Rae.
Oh, I do think. I mean, she's great. She was a wonderful Cinderella.
Oh yeah. So and Carly Rae I know is a theater girl. Like she likes her theater. So I feel like they'll go into this with a semblance of love.
Lena Dunham is an interesting choice. I mean, she's an excellent writer. I think that her work is good, but hasn't she been a little on a wasn't she kind of almost canceled there for a bit?
A little bit. I think she's coming back. I feel like there's I've seen online there's been a resurgence of love for the show Girls.
Yeah.
Like there was a period of time where it was like Girls was the hottest thing.
Yes.
And then there was a period of time where it was like actually Girls is problematic and we shouldn't like it.
Yes.
And now I've seen a resurgence of actually this show is actually excellent.
She's an excellent writer. Mm-hmm. She's a great actor, and casting Adam Driver was a brilliant choice. I mean, there you go.
Yeah, so we have faith in this musical. We'll see what happens. So Disney hits the brakes on live action remakes following Snow White's poor performance at the box office.
They should have done that a little while ago.
Girl, you know.
And I'm a Disney adult. I don't know if that's another thing that we haven't talked about.
Disney is for you.
I am a Disney adult.
And you are tired of this.
I am done. And I also like the classic movies. I'm not a huge Disney Channel person. I'm not into Pixar that much. I like going to Disneyland. I like going to Disney World, and I love my classics. And I was very much on the remake train for a little bit. I really liked the Cinderella. I really liked the Beauty and the Beast. And then I just kind of thought it would stop, and it didn't. No.
And also around that time, 2014 to 18, 19, it was very much like, oh my God, tapping into millennial nostalgia is so cool and so fresh and so smart. And now it's kind of just like,
it's done.
Okay. Like it's not exciting anymore.
No, everyone's like, oh, another one. And so many of them have only just been released on Disney Plus anyways, too.
Exactly.
So
also there's so much money that goes into them because it's not just the money of making a movie, it's the money of the IP material and all of that. Like there's so much money, and because people are becoming less and less excited about this kind of stuff because it becomes sort of just the same thing over and over again, like fewer people are seeing it. And so it's not making the kind of money it used to make. And so there's obviously still going forward with Lilo and Stitch. That's like in theaters.
Oh, and I saw a preview for that, and it actually does look really cute.
And they are still going forward with Moana.
Okay.
But everything else, they're kind of pumping the brakes a little bit.
I think that's smart.
Save your money to create some new classics.
Wait another 5-10 years and maybe go back to a few more when it gets exciting again. But I think that we've been doing a few too many of those, and I think that is a very, very smart decision on their end.
Yeah, and honestly, the Snow White not doing super well at the box office kind of makes a little bit of sense to me because that's not a movie that millennials are super tied to. People our age are super.
I'm like, no, I like it. I didn't see it. So there you go. That's the thing. And I love Snow White very much, but I just was like, I like my cartoon version.
Yeah, and the people who honestly really love Snow White, who are hardcore fans of it, are like the cinephiles, like the people who are hardcore movie fans who acknowledge Snow White is revolutionary because it was the first full feature, fully animated, and so that's why they love Snow White. And those people are not excited about these remakes. People.
Also I feel like you have to understand too that from I think, and I know you guys have talked about Rachel Zegler on this podcast before. She really came hard at Snow White for having been cast as the princess. And I felt like when she was like, she's not going to get saved by the prince. She's not going to be singing about that. She's going to be doing her own thing. And I think that's really important to contextualize. First of all, that Snow White, the cartoon was written in the 30s about the 1400s. And at that time, really the only way a woman could come into her own power or do her own thing or get out of a terrible living situation, which Snow White was in, was to get married to a prince to help her get away from that. So, but even though she was dreaming about that, she actually didn't need the prince because on her own, she did run away. She made her own way in the cottage with the animals and with the dwarves, and she helped them. And then the witch came, and yes, she got her. And the prince did break the spell. I understand all of that, but I do think that there is an argument to be made for Snow White being an incredibly feminist character given her circumstances and time period.
It should surprise no one that Lauren wrote, was it a paper? It was an article.
It was a
published article about how the Disney princesses are
actually feminist icons.
Feminist icons.
Yes, I can make an argument for all of them given their circumstances. I think when you look at something through a contemporary lens, of course you can criticize it, and we'd all be criticizing it, right? I think that we could look at famous female historical figures and have strong feelings about how maybe in today's day and age they're not feminist enough, but back then I think Snow White was incredibly feminist, and so I take issue with let's give a lot of love to these princesses and what they do represent in their value, because I think that they, as a feminist, I can stand by a lot of their actions as well.
And I do think that like Rachel Zegler like saying those things, it does feel like that felt like a what she maybe was told to say.
Yeah, that's true. There's a strong possibility.
I don't know this. I'm just sort of guessing. But it seems like, hey, say this thing and it'll get people excited for this remake, you know? Mm-hmm. And so I'm not sure if that was necessarily her viewpoint on it, or like if this is what producers told her, hey, this is why people are going to be excited about this. So really promote that idea. And then it did kind of backfire a little bit.
Oh yeah. For sure. Yeah. I mean, I know there's a lot of stuff with it, but I think that was... there were Snow White fans who were like, excuse me.
Lauren wrote that article. So something that will make you feel old. Lauren, I'm sorry to do this to you.
Okay.
YouTube turned 20 this week. YouTube turned 20 years old this week.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought it was, actually, because I think I didn't hear about it until my freshman year of undergrad. Which is not 20 years ago.
No, it is. Is it?
Because we're not at our 20.
Is it 19 years ago? Yes, but
we are not at our 20-year high school graduation
not
like
yet.
Someone else is.
Like some other people who.
No, it's 20 years since I did Into the Woods and played Cinderella in my high school production.
You were practically a baby. So do you remember your first experience with you? What was the first YouTube video you watched?
I have a very, very clear memory of this. So I'm at Cap 21.
Okay.
And I'm sitting in the shop, which is where we had our main dance classes in the black box, and it was dance class. And I remember that Liz came up to me and said something about YouTube. And I thought she said you too.
Okay.
and I was like, what do you mean me too? What did I do? I just didn't understand.
Okay.
And then she was talking about these songs or something on the internet. And I don't think I could conceptualize at all what she was talking about, but that was my first time hearing about it. And then I remember people were talking about the shows. Come get my shows. Yes. And then people were saying that a lot. And that's kind of when I understood. And then I was like, oh, this is YouTube. And I remember having the thought, wait, this didn't already exist on the internet?
Sure.
And so I guess it did for a full year. But I meant longer. It just seemed so obvious. So then I was like, oh, okay.
Well, Shoes was the first because YouTube beforehand was just you can share videos of shows you like or something like that, or you can share just
not original
videos of you just hanging out with your friends, whatever. Mm-hmm. But Shoes was the first I'm gonna create a skit and it's gonna be and everyone is gonna see it. I'm gonna use YouTube as an artistic form of expression, and so that was very exciting. But I did know about YouTube in 2005.
Oh, okay.
Because I had missed a certain week's episode of Degrassi.
Of course.
And I was on the forums, I was on the boards, and someone was just you can watch the most recent episode here. And I remember being okay, I'm ready for a long download. I'm ready for a link for some sort of media wire or whatever download that might not work. It might stop halfway through and then I'll be screwed forever. But I remember clicking this link and the video just started.
Oh,
it just
you're okay.
Started playing. I didn't have to wait, and I was like, wait, it's not it's not starting and stopping. It's just going. And to me, it was lightning speed. And I would probably look back now and be like, oh, this video is taking forever. But at the time, I was so wowed, and I was like, what is this website? And for a long time, that was the only video that I had seen on YouTube, like for several months. But I just remember that one website where the video just uploaded, and it just was there, and it was playing, and I got to watch this episode of Degrassi on the internet. It was so exciting, and I'm ancient. It was the fact that a video, these kids these days, they don't appreciate the fact that when they click on a video, it starts to fucking play.
That's true.
Yeah.
You're right.
We had to wait. We had to
dial up.
We had to dial up to connect to the world. Yeah. And we sat
And if someone was
patiently.
on the phone, you couldn't be on the internet.
Nope. Yeah. So, and this is why we very much appreciate the animated version of Snow White. It's because we lived closer to that time than the kids are today.
It's true. And that was drawn by hand.
It was drawn by hand. Talk about patience.
Yes. Each frame was hand drawn.
I mean, it's brilliant. It's genius.
Think about that for a second. Yeah.
Let's think about that for a second while we take our wonderful, beautiful break. And I charge the battery of this old camera that I am recording this podcast on.
Sounds good.
So, Lauren, we're going to take a breather, drink a glass of water, and be back refreshed and ready to sing for
Part
our
two,
lives.
Act 2.
Part 2, Act 2. Wicked, for good. Okay, we're good? Talk?
We're good.
I'm looking at the way. Okay,
Hi.
guys.
We're back.
Guys, while we were on the break, I checked the audio.
And was it working?
For the first half of the podcast.
Okay.
I pushed all the right buttons.
Yay!
Everything worked. So I'm very proud of myself.
You're good at communications.
Oh my God, I
You
am
did it. You did
communications.
it.
I am the S and you are with that. Sans S.
Sans S.
Beautiful. So before we continue to go on, I'm going to give the spiel that Matt Palmer gives. If you guys like us, do not forget that we have a Patreon. You can become a patron at patreon.com/2gamematch. You get a bunch of fun bonus content, a bunch of fun bonus videos. You get to become a member of the Discord where you get to chat all the live long day with a bunch of friends that you just haven't met yet. We have a live show coming up on August 30th in New York City.
In New York City.
In New York City.
I love that. I love that so much for you guys. I'm so excited.
I know.
That's amazing.
Born to perform on the Lower East Side.
Are you off Broadway?
We're off Broadway, baby. The best kind of off Broadway. I know, exactly. And so tickets are available for that. They will be in the link if you're watching this on YouTube. The links will be abound. Don't worry about that. Also, if you can't make it to New York August 30th, Labor Day weekend, there is a live stream option where you can buy a ticket and you can watch this show live streamed.
I will be doing that.
Okay, we love. So don't you want to watch
it
with
me,
Lauren? I mean, you
on the live stream.
You really want to watch it in person, but if you must,
which I must,
you can watch the live stream with Lauren, Dr. Lauren. I'm so sorry. And also, don't forget, most importantly, to give this podcast 5 stars on Apple Podcasts.
They only accept 5 stars.
We only accept 5 stars. We don't know what a 4th star is. It's 5 and only 5. Yeah, we are. It's like as many Spice Girls as there are. That's how many stars the 2Gay Mats only accept. So do all the things, do all the exciting things, and also if you somehow don't know that we have a YouTube channel, consider subscribing to that and everything, where you can see Dr. Lauren in my favorite video of 2Gay Mats, where me and Matt Palmer and Lauren talk about the movie Cats.
Oh, that was great.
Lauren is a big Cats fan. She can tell you all the personalities of every single cat.
I actually have a cat named Grisabella.
Actually has a cat named Grisabella, guys.
Because I found her a kitten dying in the gutter. And she was mangy and had fleas and all the things.
And she could sing her face off.
And I didn't know she was going to make it, but I named her Grisabella because she looked like a Grisabella.
Yeah, so
in
don't
that
you want to watch that video and see me and Lauren truly horrify Matt Palmer for about like 20 something
Oh, it was
minutes.
great.
It was a great
That was
time.
great. Yeah, he was horrifying.
Yes. So now you have to give your line. Like, so Matt Steele, what part of the podcast are we on?
So Matt Steele.
Yes.
What part of the podcast are we on?
We are on Email My Heart.
My Heart.
Yes, this is the section of the podcast where we answer any questions that you guys might have. You can be a part of Email My Heart if you email us at 2gaymats@gmail.com. 2 is spelled TWO. So Dr. Lauren had a request because she liked one of the emails that we got last week, where it was asking us what our relationship with physical media was, like DVDs and CDs and stuff like that. And I believe you had something that you wanted to say.
Yes.
About it. Yes.
I loved listening to that one. And I have a really kind of unique story about that as well, because I am obsessed with my cast recordings.
Oh, yes.
Obviously. And I have other very specific pop album CDs that I listen to. And I have my CD case with all that you flip through.
And so you were into that too.
Yes, and I have the ones that I have one for just like my vocal tracks for singing, and then I have the ones that are like all my musical theater ones, and then I have the small one with like very few pop albums that I do have. And it is very important for me to listen to them, and I like to listen to them in the car. I do not have I really don't have any music on my phone.
Okay.
Well, I just don't have music on my phone.
Well, the thing is now the kids don't have music on their phone. They just go to like Spotify.
Oh, I guess that's true. But
but back in the day when you had to have music on your phone, yeah.
I hate that. I hate that so much. I was okay with the iPod.
Okay.
When I could put my CDs on there. Anyways, I like my CDs in my car, and I have a car that has a CD player, and if I have to ever get a car that doesn't have a CD player, I'm going to be very upset. I'm going to have to get one put in there. It's very important to me. And I have my old like boombox circa 2004.
Nice.
I have it now in my son's room, and I play CDs for him because I think that's important to listen to The Secret Garden.
Yes.
On the CD. And you need to hear
1991 cast recording of Secret Garden.
Absolutely.
Yes.
That is very important. So that's the relationship I have with it. And then the other thing that's really cool is we have in our house a gramophone.
You do? You got?
Yes.
Was it you who got Matthew?
I got it from Matthew. I got it for my husband for his 40th birthday. I got it because I was like, oh, he's turning 40. Let's do something from the 40s. But then I even went further back.
Of course, you even have a theme for the husband's birthday present.
Oh, always. Always. Every year there's a theme.
Iconic. Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love it.
Okay. Yeah. I'm like, duh.
Yeah.
Okay. So so I got him, we went to the Pasadena flea market because I was like, this is a really big purchase. And I actually did want him to pick it out, but I wanted to surprise him with it. So we drove there, and as we were there, he kind of figured out because we had talked about it in the past. And it's actually from 1906, which is really cool. So it is, vintage old gramophone. And so we actually now have records. I think they're called 78s.
Okay.
I always forget. I was like, are they 75, 78s? Because then there's another one's called like 30. This is when I'm like, I think anyone who's Gen X and older are rolling their eyes at us right now.
Sure, yeah.
Because they're like, oh, those millennials don't even know what the album.
Yeah.
They're, the speeds and how much you can have on them.
I didn't even know that that's why they were called that.
Yeah,
I thought it was how many inches they were. Which I guess 78 is really
inches.
big.
What is that going to look like that?
I don't know, but that's just, I don't know.
Oh, that's great. That's great.
Yeah, that's, I wasn't thinking.
That's okay. It's okay.
It's something I never had to think about
fine.
too deep. Yeah.
So I know, anyways, it plays the bigger ones, but yeah, you can have like a song aside, basically, is what they are. So, and then you have to crank it. Mm-hmm. So you have to crank the whole thing and put it on. So we have that, and it's great because you know what? I get to listen to like the original Broadway cast recording of Oklahoma on.
Ooh, and so when my language,
so you crank it up and you hear the like buzz from the gramophone, and you have it's better than a record player. I love it so much. And you put the needle on, and then you hear the fiddle start going.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
and it's just like
that sounds so good.
And it's just, and I cry because it is amazing. It's better than a CD, and just hearing it on that with the brass coming out of it's incredible. And so like that is my relationship to like physical, like old physical media and stuff is really very important in that way. I also have a bunch of Shakespeare movie DVDs. And I haven't even really, some of them are still in plastic. I haven't always watched them, but I have them because I just need to know that I have access to them. As you were saying about other stuff, last week. So I just was very passionate about that. I wanted to chat on it.
And thinking about gramophones versus like record players.
Yeah.
I wonder because vinyls are huge now.
Oh yeah.
Music
vinyls
fans. Like all the kids, to prove you are a music fan, you must have every Taylor Swift vinyl in every single color, every single different album cover and blah, 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 and everything. I feel it because gramophones, like it's like one song per side, right?
Yeah.
So I feel like, and Taylor, maybe she wants to make a little more money. She could have a gramophone release of her next album where like...
Of her 60 tracks?
Of her 60 tracks. So you
30
need...
albums?
So since there's 2 songs on each record, whatever, you need to buy 30 separate like things for the gramophone. Track 1's on one side, track 2. Replace it with track 3, then track 4. So
can you imagine all these like Gen Z 50s going to buy their gramophones?
They would make her the first trillionaire. Taylor Swift, I just gave you a brilliant business idea. And so you better give me.
It's also going to run the market up on gramophones. So the people restoring those, because there's only so many in circulation. That's the other thing.
Yeah, and so you will.
Once you have one, that's it. Yeah,
you will be the next. You had the coolest idea: flares and gramophones. Okay, gramophones are going to be so 2026. That's what's going to be in.
Oh, I love that.
We're predicting it now. So I'm very happy that you. We're just like, hey, I want to answer this old email question because I love it.
You're welcome.
Okay, so the next email that we got is from the wonderful Kelly. And
Hi,
Kelly's
Kelly.
asking a musical theater question.
Ooh.
And it says, Kimberly is coming. Love to you both. Straight to it. Kimberly Akimbo is finally coming to Chicago. So I guess Kelly is from Chicago.
That's where
which
I'm
is
from.
where Lauren's from.
Yes.
And Kelly has tickets. I'm hoping to get your take on listening to the cast recording before the show versus waiting to be surprised by the music. I've gone to see shows and used both approaches. So curious to get your thoughts.
So I haven't seen or listened to Kimberly Akimbo.
Okay.
But just in general, but I don't need to help answer this question.
Absolutely.
I love to do my homework. I love to be prepared. And I feel like when I hear a song the second or third time, like that recognition factor makes me like it more. So I do like to listen to, even if I don't listen to all of them, I want to know like the big money numbers that are going to be coming up so that I can be really excited about them when they're happening. I'm trying to think if I've seen some new stuff where the album, like the cast recording hasn't
been out
yet.
Especially when we were living in New York,
Yes.
like things would be in previews and you didn't have the opportunity to listen to it beforehand.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like super, like I saw Lestat
Yeah.
on Broadway.
That was there isn't even a cast recording.
There's
of
not a cast recording of that. I saw Tale of Two Cities on Broadway.
I saw that. I remember that was my first time experiencing that sensation was Spring Awakening. When I saw
okay.
freshman year of college, I saw a preview, one of the first previews of Spring Awakening, and it was my first time going into a new musical without having ever heard the music. And I remember sitting there, and it was really like an amazing moment for me because I was thinking, this is what it felt like to like be experiencing The King and I for the first time.
I was just going to say South of the Pacific, but okay, same thing.
Same thing.
We're both going to RNH.
Yeah, exactly. And this is what they felt like because they were experiencing this new thing. They had no idea what
it
was coming next.
Course,
and this is the first. And soon, like decades from now, people will be looking back at me being like, wow, you saw the original production of Spring Awakening. What was that like? And that was a very like impactful moment for me. I will say I do enjoy going into a show having heard the music because I guess like the director mind in me, I'm very excited to see how the version in my head, like the staging and everything in my head that I've been picturing this entire time listening to the cast recording, how it compares to the actual staging and how it can be interpreted differently from how I interpret it. So to me, that is very exciting.
What would you say? Because you've listened to Kimberly Akimbo, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so is that a show that you think then is like, oh no, you should hear some of these songs ahead of time, or do you think that's one that's like, no, you don't need it?
I think you can go into Kimberly Akimbo pretty blind.
Okay, then I think that's maybe what Kelly should do.
All right, Kelly.
It's up to you, Kelly, but
you heard it from a doctor.
I think that if it's something that you can, then why not have that experience?
Sure.
But you can't really go wrong. I don't think
you can't really go wrong. Also, it's a wonderful show. Or I've never seen it. I've only heard the cast recording. But I really like it. So I think you'll like it as well. So this is a question specifically from Peter. Peter says, "Hi, unknown guest host. Thanks for hosting in Matt Palmer's absence. My question for you is, if you were to join this podcast, what segments would you like to add? Oh. And what's one story you wish was covered this week that wasn't part of News for Idiots?" So, drag us for filth. How could our podcast be better, Dr. Lauren?
How could it be better? Yeah. I mean, you keep adding different and new segments already. So I'm trying to think. I would love if there could be, I think you guys need to sing more.
Okay.
And I think that there should be a section where you both bring in like an 8-bar cut of something that you love.
8 bars is so stressful.
Okay, 16 bars of something that you love.
Okay.
And I want you guys to alternate between either of you doing musical theater and pop songs, because I think that part of that is you're trying to, explore the other person's passions, and you're both getting very good at that. And so I feel like sometimes you need to bring, like, there should be like a book assignment. You need to bring in a 16-bar cut that you just kind of sing. So because you both have amazing voices. And my favorite thing about the live shows have been when you sing. So I either want that, or I think there needs to be like No, you don't have to do it every week, but I would love a little like a duet every now and then.
Okay.
That's what I would like to add to the podcast.
I hope that I never have to. I hope that what is assigned to me is never because you are so beautiful. Because it's not going to be a pretty podcast. Yeah.
No. I mean, I just think it's great. Or you can bring it and then you sing from your favorite divas, that sort of thing.
Okay, so a musical element, just like a cappella.
Yeah, just a cappella. Nothing crazy, but just because even then when sometimes you guys sing through things, I just love it. I think it's great. And as you guys talk about music, you should do a little more singing. You're both good at it.
I think that's pretty fair. And I know that people, when they see the live shows, they do love the song element.
I love it. Oh, and I will take a moment while Matt Palmer's not here.
Oh, yeah. Give it to us.
Just to say that I love talking about duets. And I'm going back, those of you who watch every week will remember that 4, maybe 5 weeks ago, there was a question about duets, I believe. And I love the Prince of Egypt.
Okay.
We're coming off after Passover here. And I love the When You Believe.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's amazing. Mm-hmm. It was incredible. Mariah and Whitney. Yeah. It was beautiful. And I just would love you two to sing a little bit of that at some point.
Oh.
That's my duet request for the two of you. For the pop version.
Maybe.
Well, actually, no, it bridges both because it was also on Broadway. So you get a little bit
It wasn't on Broadway. It was in London.
It was in London. Yeah, it was on the West End.
It didn't go to Broadway.
Oh, I thought it was going to. Okay.
When we tour a 2 game, when we have our first 2 game mats live in Egypt, that will be.
Ooh, was that going to happen?
I don't know if there will be a huge audience.
I don't know if there will.
But things are progressing. We're about to hopefully get another progressive pope, and so maybe Egypt will.
This is a song about Passover, sung by 2 gay mats.
I forgot about that element of it too.
That's gonna go over real well.
Nothing's impossible, and
when you believe,
when you believe, thank you.
And then anything to cut, I wouldn't cut anything. I think you guys are great.
You want it to be longer.
I do actually.
All right.
I oftentimes do. Yeah, I think it could be longer.
All right, cool. Well, we'll draw this podcast out.
Yeah, it's great. I think it's amazing.
All night.
Okay, so Matt, would you tell me what part of the podcast we're on?
Oh, you jumped right in. She's a professional.
I know. What did you have to do this?
Are we doing a 2 game minutes? Did you want to do a 2 game minutes?
I will try a 2 game minutes.
We're going to try a 2 game minutes, ladies and gentlemen. So this is 2 game minutes. This is the section of the podcast where one of the mats rambles on about something the other mat doesn't care about for 2 minutes and 2 minutes only. And so, Dr. Lauren,
I'm going to be one of the mats.
She's going to be one of the mats. Put on your best Matt Palmer voice, and because otherwise it's not 2 game minutes.
It's not 2 game minutes.
I know, but no. So, Lauren, you have 2 minutes to talk about something that you're very excited about that you think I won't care about.
Yeah, I have that.
This is 2 game minutes worthy, ladies and gentlemen. Your 2 game minutes starts now.
Okay, so I want to talk about how I've been rewatching all of the old Frasier seasons on Hulu with my husband, and it was on from the early 90s, and I think it was on for 11 seasons. I'm in season 8, and I just have to say it holds up. It is an incredibly funny TV show. I used to watch it on and off as a kid. Didn't make a lot of sense to me. Now it makes so much more sense. The jokes are hilarious, and it's like watching a play every single episode. And you have so many theater people in it, which, by the way, so you've got Kelsey Grammer, you have David Hyde Pierce, you have John Maloney, you have BB Newworth, right? And you have guest stars coming in and out, a lot of Broadway performers, and it is clearly they were trained for the stage, but they're on a sitcom, and the layers and levels of the jokes are just so incredibly funny. I am obsessed with it. I think that I think it is better than Seinfeld.
1 minute.
1 minute. I think it's better than Seinfeld. I think that it is better than Friends. I think that it's better than How I Met Your Mother. I'm just naming random, really popular sitcoms that people are probably screaming right now and going, no, it's not. But it is so smart. It is so smart, and the acting is so good. And I feel like I know it got a lot of credit and people were excited about it, but I think it got overshadowed by other shows. And this one, it holds up, and it's not cringe. That's the other thing too. There are things that you can watch from the 90s and early 2000s, and you're like, that didn't age well. This aged well. There's nothing cringe about it. Everything in there is really good. and I'm just obsessed with it. And I'm not going to go for the full 2 minutes because that's all I have to say.
It's okay because I have 20 seconds. I'll take on your 2 gay minutes. I will say Frasier is always something that when it was always on, I was like, oh, as a kid, I was always like, oh, I'm changing the channel. There's no kids here. There's no family here. And there's very few women. And so I was like, I'm not interested. But now when people describe Frasier to me, when they talk about how it's like very much like a play, like the style of it, I'm very much like, that sounds really great actually. So I might maybe one day watch an episode of Frasier because I've truly never seen an episode.
It's up there with I Love Lucy for me. I Love Lucy is still my favorite.
What about Golden Girls?
I never really got into Golden Girls.
Lauren, Dr.
This is where I get kicked off at 2 gay mats.
It's okay.
This is where I get kicked off at 2 gay mats.
Listen, we love everyone here. The Pope Francis has taught us to embrace everyone.
The parts I've seen, I have liked.
Wait, so you've never like really fully seen?
I had not. I mean, I've seen episodes.
Okay. You and Matt Palmer need to sit down together, hold hands. And
Matt Palmer hasn't really.
Matt Palmer's never seen.
But
the
he
Golden
talks
Girls.
about it.
He doesn't talk about it. I always tell him he needs to see it because Matt Palmer has famously never seen the Golden Girls.
Oh, okay.
So I think you both.
Like I said, I've seen parts. I've seen the clips I've watched. I've enjoyed, but it hasn't spoken to me the way other sitcoms have.
Okay, and that's fair. We love everyone here at 2 Gay Mats.
Okay, thank you.
And so this is normally now where we do the new segment Travis Tracks, where I talk about the playlist I made my roommate because he doesn't know anything about pop music and he has been listening to a song a day and he will for an entire year. And so I'm not going to go through Travis Tracks now because he just got onto Butterfly, the album, which is Matt Palmer's favorite Mariah album.
Oh,
so
you
Matt
need Matt Palmer for that. Of course.
When we talk about Butterfly.
Absolutely.
But
Absolutely.
did you want to say, you said you wanted to say something about Travis?
Well, yeah, just because I think I want to be on this journey with Travis because I
can send you the playlist.
Yes, I really want to do this too because there are some things that I have heard or have never heard or have heard like way after. I'm the one who famously in school in my junior year of high school, we were in AP World History. Our teacher was talking about Nirvana in terms of religion and made a musical joke about Nirvana. And I was like, I don't understand what anyone's saying. And then someone's like, no, like Nirvana, the band. And I was like, I don't know what you're talking about.
I wouldn't know either.
And then they're like Kurt Cobain. And I was like, who? Mm-hmm. And then they're like, wait. And they're like, Mrs. Shaughnessy, Lauren doesn't know what you're talking about. And she's like, wait, what? And I was trying to explain this to my students. And it's essentially being like, if people didn't know who Justin Bieber was. Sure. That was the reaction, right? And I still right now could not name you one Nirvana song. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if this will even be on track. I guess it's not really pop music.
Lauren,
but,
do you think there's Nirvana on this playlist? I mean, listen, because you don't understand.
I don't even know where to put. You put Creep on there.
Creep by TLC. Oh, when you think I put Creep by Radiohead on?
Yeah, no, I didn't even know. Is that you're a creep?
No,
I didn't even know. Is that Radiohead?
So I creep. Yeah.
Okay,
no, because when I was a little kid, I loved TLC.
Oh, I love TLC too.
Okay, yeah. Well, TLC's on the playlist.
That's great.
But I'll still send you the playlist.
Okay. Yeah. Yes. So, anyways, just to say, I'm also like I'm right there with Travis.
I'd venture to say you know more than Travis.
Really?
I'd venture to say because you did get into like a few, like you were into Christina Aguilera.
I did. I love Christina Aguilera. There was I think 6. Okay, it was Spice Girls.
Sure, of course. I mean,
and then it was
Queens.
6th and 7th grade. And part of 8th grade, I kind of knew what was going on pop music wise. And then that was it. And then before and after that was all musical theater. So I definitely have these gaping holes. Yeah.
See, I have gaping holes as well because it was very much like from 1994 to 1999. I was plugged in. Okay. But then once the 2000 hits, it was all musical theater for me. Mm-hmm. And so it wasn't until Matt Palmer entered my life.
Yeah, I know. That was the whole thing.
And now I feel like I can give you the whole rundown of Mariah Carey's career.
Well, that's the thing. And because of you two, I now have some sort of understanding about that. And so I like to be on this. Yeah, you basically sent me a playlist for Survivor as well and Big Brother.
Oh yeah, I've gotten you into Big Brother.
You have.
I never thought in a million years
I know.
I would get Dr. Lauren
the Big Brother
to watch Big Brother. And now Lauren is binging through seasons of Big Brother. And I'm just like, the good I do. And you're liking it. You're enjoying yourself.
I am. I'm enjoying it very much. Very much. I love the strategy.
11 right now.
Yes.
Which is a messy season.
But I haven't gone through all. Unlike you, I didn't watch from like beginning through all the way through.
Like
you gave me
6.
the order that was appropriate.
Yeah. Seasons. You've seen 6 through 11, but you skipped 9 because you went through a couple episodes and you're like, I can't do this.
I can't do this at all.
It's okay. You can go back to 9 at some point. because 9 is a challenge.
Yep.
I mean, I love it, but
Now
it's not your aesthetic.
No. I think that's what I thought all of Big Brother was, that's why I never watched it. And I'm like, oh, this is why I didn't care. But now it's much smarter than that and interesting. So yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so we are on to the final section of the podcast, and that is giving me moments, and that is where one of us, we both talk about
moments.
What has been giving us moments this week. It could be something in our lives. It's usually media we consume or something like that. But do you want me to go first or do you want to go first?
You can go first.
So I finally saw this week the movie Sinners, directed by Ryan Coogler, starring Michael B. Jordan, getting huge critical acclaim. It's a horror movie. It feels, the great thing about this movie is that in the beginning, for the first hour, it feels like a drama. Like they film it like a drama, and then it turns into a horror movie. Like this with this fun sort of twist.
I like that.
Yeah, it's really fun, and there might be some spoilers here, so I guess fast forward. But it's getting huge critical acclaim. It's a huge box office smash. It is. I think the first week it got 60 million for its first week in the box office. It's the highest box office in several years for a movie that is an IP. Not including Barbie, not including Marvel or anything like that, which is amazing because April, people aren't really seeing movies in April. This isn't a movie going time. It's not like it's summer or it
is for these
season.
people.
Yeah, so the fact that it's doing so well is so amazing, and it is actually on track to be to have the biggest success, the number one success for a box office for a movie that's not IP material in its second week.
Wow.
Because the drop off, because usually there's a drop off in box office, that drop off has been so insignificant for its second week, which is amazing. But it's beautifully done. It's shot I saw it in IMAX, and so it's partially shot in IMAX, but partially not. And so there are certain segments that when it gets to parts where there are vampires. there are vampires in this movie. It suddenly goes into IMAX and it's whoa, it feels like your eyes are being opened.
The way they see.
In the kind of the way they see, or that's how I sort of felt. I don't know if that was the intended idea, but that's sort of how I felt. It's kind of just the world, just for the entire movie where you're learning about the main characters, you have a sort of limited view, and then it's pow, there's so much more to this world, and it's so exciting. So it's about these two brothers, these twin brothers. Both are played by Michael B. Jordan. And these are some hustlers. They grew up in Mississippi. It's 1932, I believe, and they.
I love a period piece.
Oh, you love a period, and so it's Mississippi where they grew up. They were in Chicago for a while, doing business dealings and probably dealing with some shady people here and there. So they went back down to Mississippi in 1932, their hometown, to open up a juke joint. So a fun club for people to go to. There's going to be music and everything. And so they're setting up this juke joint. They're trying to gather these musicians and everything. And for the first hour and a half, it really feels like a drama because you're being introduced to all these characters that are their relatives or people in their lives, people who they grew up with. One, Michael B. Jordan, is reunites with his woman who I don't know if they were ever married, but they had a child together. And so he's reunited with her. And so there are all these characters and they're developed so well. And you really just spend an hour and a half just getting to know these characters. And the entire time you're just where are the vampires? Where are the vampires? Where are the vampires? But I just love how this movie really takes its time to develop all these characters. And if it was a new director whose name wasn't Ryan Coogler, this movie never would have gotten made because they would have tried to pitch the script. And it's what do you mean the vampires don't show up until page 100, So so the fact that Ryan Coogler has established his career to a point where he can make a movie where there is a good expansive amount of time to really dive deep into these characters is just, I think, so wonderful. You can tell he got to make the movie he wanted to make. The thing that is truly extraordinary about just the filmmaking of this movie to me, the thing that is the star more than anything is the music. It's the same composer that he did Black Panther with. I think it's the same composer who did Oppenheimer, I think.
Oh,
yeah,
cool.
I think. And just the music is so good. And there is a section that I'm not going to spoil. Should I spoil it?
No, don't spoil it.
I'm not going to spoil it.
Don't spoil it.
That where it's about the music and the whole movie I read as sort of an allegory for like Black culture being appropriated and like taken and stuff like that, and or like any cultures like sort of that are like appropriated or taken or anything like that. And so there is a segment that everyone's talking about online where they're in the club, and it's really where the movie turns. So it's really where you feel the shift in the movie. And there's this long sequence that is about the music and how music sort of like it can draw in like the spirits of the musicians of the past, the present, and the future.
Okay, that sounds really cool.
And so there's a thing that like happens in this movie, this whole sequence that is just a sort of one long tracking shot, it feels. And that sort of emphasizes that, and it's spellbinding, and the music that is used in it is just so wonderful. It's just a moment where you're in the theater and you're just like, wow. But wow, what a moment. Like, wow, what a moment. Like, it's a great moment in the movie. So yeah, it's great. It's totally worth the hype. Really, and just like really fun. Like, it's just like a fun horror movie but it's not too scary. There's like a couple like jump cuts like in the beginning a little bit, but like it's true if you're someone who's like a little like, I don't know how I feel about horror movies, like it's not super scary. It's more story driven than anything. It's not super gory. There's a little bit of blood, but like you would think there would be a little more. So it's if you're a person who's a little squeamish like Matt Palmer
and me,
you're good. And you guys will be, I think you'll be fine. You've seen way gorier. So it's definitely something I recommend. And I definitely recommend if you can seeing it in IMAX. So you get that effect.
That moment.
Yeah. And like there's several moments where it like switches back and forth.
Cool.
So yeah, I definitely recommend it. Yeah. Now, Lauren, you said you had a giving me moment.
I have a giving me moments too.
And you said it was more of like a personal one.
Yeah. Well, it was just this really cool. I was thinking about it the other day, and was truly thinking like, oh, this was a really neat moment. And I'm like, wait a minute.
Oh, good thing I'm on the podcast. That's weird.
I have to have a giving me moments, and I think this is giving me moments. So when I teach, as I said, I teach public speaking, and we're doing the special occasion speeches right now. And so I show them a bunch of different types of speeches in the special occasion speech lecture, including my dad's Father of the Bride speech for me, which is really lovely because he gave a really objectively
it was a
good
dynamite speech.
Okay, yes. I was gonna say I'm not just being like
no, it was great. It was it was a great speech.
So I use that to teach like how to give a good toast. Anyways.
I love that.
Which it also is like, I mean, that gives me a little moment if it's not my big moment. So the big moment was that I use for accepting an award as an example is when Ali Stroker won the Tony Award for Best Supporting Actress in a Musical for Oklahoma. And and it's short, it's only a minute and a half, but it is a really amazing like outline for a speech that you could then expand on each section. It is so clear, and she is so intentional and specific and delivers it so beautifully that I show that to my students of like, if you're going to do an acceptance speech, this is a great thing. And then just expand in it to get the length you need for the assignment, right? So I showed it Thursday night. I showed it in my class Friday morning, and then I had a little break between my classes, and I was going to show it again. And in the meantime, I just opened up Instagram, and I open up, and the first thing that pops up is a post from Ali Stroker. And she's just like saying, hey, I've been having a really rough 2025. I'm just like kind of paraphrasing here. She's put it on social media, but and if you want to go read it, you can. But she's just like, I'm really like, it's been rough. Gone through some personal things, some professional things didn't work out the way she hoped, and it's just been really hard. And she's like, so I'm taking a note from my own book and just trying to be more vulnerable and sharing that like where I thought life was going isn't going there right now. And I was just like, wow, like the timing of that to be like, I'm showing this. And then I think she had this story later being like, sometimes I put on my Tony Award winning dress just to remind myself of who I am. And I was like,
I love that.
I love that so much. And I'm like, I'm showing your speech as an example. And all of my, like since she won in all my classes, people have seen this, and I'm like, she's amazing. We went to school with her. She was a year ahead of us at CAP. I'm just like, she's great. And this speech is great. And in the middle of that is when she posted this thing on Instagram of like really struggling with stuff at the moment. And just kind of putting that into sort of a perspective. And then I shared it with my next class. I'm like, guys, can I just tell you what I just read on Instagram like a moment ago? Like that she's been having this thing and shared it publicly. And I just feel like you don't like, life is such a weird up and down journey, right? You have the highs and the lows, and like you can like make it exactly where you want to be, win the Tony Award, and then still like have parts that don't go as well, right? And you don't, so there's two lessons, is that you've never really ever arrived, right? There are going to be really high ups and low lows, and that's just part of the journey. So like recognizing that it doesn't always, life isn't the musical narrative that you like has a beginning, middle, and end.
That you think's going to happen when you graduated college in 2010.
Yeah.
You're just like, oh, I'm going to get that Wicked appointment.
Right. It's like there. So there's one. And then the second thing is like, you also don't know the impact that you are constantly having on other people's lives at any given moment. Yeah. And so you can be like, I'm in this like really rough spot right now, and someone else is actually showing my speech and using me as inspiration of how to like do amazing things in these classes at USC and at Pepperdine. And I just think that like, and she has no idea that I'm doing that. And I just think like the juxtaposition of it was really interesting. And that was just giving me like personal reflection moments about how odd all that is. And that was a really cool thing. Yeah. So I just wanted to share that because I thought, and then the musical theater part all just ties in as well. That's why I was like, this is perfect for this podcast.
Of course it is. Hey, and it's a very like Rodgers and Hammerstein focused podcast as well.
That's true. It is. We did.
Several.
Well, when you put the two of us on a couch, that is what happens.
R&H is going to come up. Thank you.
Yes.
And I just think it's so wonderful that out of like all the award speeches, that like it's like that's the one you're just like, this one is perfect. This is a perfect acceptance speech for, and the fact that you don't even know I did this thing. I mean, I'm sure, obviously she also gave a fantastic performance.
Obviously,
in Oklahoma.
Yes.
But the fact that here's this other little tiny thing that I did that you probably think like no one is thinking about this. Like no one's thinking about this tiny moment in my life. But it's like, no, actually people are studying this tiny moment in your life in college courses.
Exactly.
So,
exactly.
By doctors like Dr. Lauren. Yeah. So
I just thought that was kind of cool.
That is nice. That is a moment to be had.
Yeah, like, absolutely. And just like for all of us to kind of know and like,
especially when you are someone who is like pursuing, I mean, when you're someone with any goal, like in general, regardless of whether it's artistic or not, like you always have to keep like reminding yourself just like it's never going to go in a straight line.
No,
it's never going to go perfectly for you. And if you feel like it's going perfectly for people like so much earlier than it ever did for you, then like something else is going to pop up for them. Like nothing's perfect for anyone.
And people don't always share those things on social media too. So I think it's really great that she was open and honest about that stuff, because I think that a lot of times we are only showing the sparkly and the shiny. And I think that there's a lot of ups and downs. And I just think that sort of honesty was great. So just kind of like appreciating that and learning from that.
Great performer, great speech giver.
Yeah.
Speech giver, a good compliment coming from someone who literally teaches speech. And
exactly
a great social media poster. She can do it all.
She can. It's true.
She can do it all, ladies and gentlemen. Ali Stroker. Yeah. So that was lovely. This was a very different podcast.
It was a little different. I'm not a gay Matt, so there's only so much I can do.
Having Matt Palmer energy like right next to me, and it's just like, oh, I'm just chatting with my friend Lauren. So
it's true.
I'm very proud of myself that I pushed all the right buttons. We'll see if
I'm proud of you.
See if I upload this podcast correctly.
Oh,
that
okay.
might get screwed up. So this might
this will just be a moment in time that
if I upload it incorrectly, then at least I'll watch these videos on my computer.
We'll enjoy it.
No, they'll be uploaded. Don't worry. So guys, thank you so much for tuning into Two Gay Mats, the podcast. Thank you, Dr. Lauren, for being a wonderful friend and person and co-host for the podcast. Dr. Lauren, where can the people find you?
You can find me on Instagram. My personal Instagram account is Much Ado About Lauren, the Shakespeare, Much Ado About. But I also have my professional Instagram as well, which is Talk the Talk Coaching. And I actually do public speaking coaching lessons and individual coachings for interviews, for toasts at weddings, so that you can have an amazing speech at a wedding if you are going to be a best man or a maid of honor or like my dad's father of the bride, which I did not coach him, but it was incredible, as I always said before.
It would be weird if you coached him.
Yeah, that would be strange. But I help with all that in terms of constructing speeches, delivering them, working with people who have stage fright, scared of interviews, building up that confidence, all of those things. So that is what I work on, which is great. So you can find me on Instagram there, as well as our website, which is talkthetalkcoaching.com.
I need some help with that because I feel like when I listen to this podcast, I'm always just like, oh my God, I say like every 5 words, or you know what happens to me on this podcast all the time? I always like, am so excited to like talk about something that a word I need to say, like leaves my brain immediately, and it's always like a simple word like table or something like that, and I'm always like searching for this word. Table and then I sometimes just say the wrong word and I'm just like, I hope people don't think I'm an idiot. So I feel like you help with that.
I do I can, I mean, slowing down is one of those things.
Oh, that's not gonna happen.
I know it's not. That's not my energy. But that is why when you talk too fast, your mouth is going faster than your brain, and that's what happens. And I always tell my students, take a breath.
Oh, you just diagnosed.
Take a pause.
You just diagnosed my ass, Dr. Lauren. You are a medical doctor.
I did. That's
you
what
just
happens.
Diagnosed me with mouth going too fast syndrome.
If you want to, but I always say keep the vocal energy up and all of that going, which you don't have a problem with.
I don't have a problem with that.
So
yeah.
But we can work on speed and coming up with the words at the same time.
Yes.
Because that's also doable.
Everyone has their own thing they need to work on.
It's true.
Beautiful.
I've noticed that.
Thank you for joining us.
This has been great. Thanks so much for having me. I really, really appreciate it. I'm just so excited that I got to be here. This has been amazing. So thank you so much for having me. Thank you, all of you, for listening. I'm listening with you guys every week as well. So I feel like I'm very much part of the 2Gay Matts community. And so being able to actually be up here and then have this discussion with you, Matt, and share everything with all of you guys who are listening is just really means a lot to me. So thank you. I am beyond honored. Thank you for having me, all of you, and you as well, Matt. This has been great.
I'm honored that you're honored. I'm honored that y'all listening.
I'm so honored. You're so honored.
Everyone's honored.
Just as long as we say honored, we'll be honored.
Hey, this is what happens when you're friends with Dr. Lauren. Okay. Yes. All right, guys. Thank you for joining us. We love you.
Love you all.
Bye.
Bye.